his own story was as curious as his narrative. The tale of his life is the tale of a writer of incredible vision, an astute analyst and pundit, a lyricist compassionate and callous.
I give you $1 million, or whatever amount of money it is that you need for your business. What are you going to do with it? If I give you all of the money you need right now, today, for you to start your business, anyone can answer. What are you going to do with the money?
Spend it.
On what?
Starting your business.
What does that mean? So now you've just come to me saying that you want to get some money from me to help you start a business. And your answer to me is, I'm going to spend it. Yes. You got to speak up. Start the due diligence process. You're trying to get my money. You're going to have to do a little better than telling me you're going to be, diligent. I assume that. Were you going to raise your hand? Anyone else? Don't be afraid. There is no wrong answer.
So wait, what is the question? What would I do with the money? Or is the question, what am I going to do with that?
No, the question is, if you're requesting right now $50,000 to start your business, and I give you that $50,000, what are some of the big things you're going to do to start that business? Yes?
Secure a location with deposits down on the power bill, phone bill, restructuring, remodeling, redecorating, buying equipment, buying signage.
Good.
Get suppliers, start setting up employees, lawyers, accountants.
And if I don't give you the money?
We're screwed.
Okay. So the answer is, if I don't give you the money, one answer is we're screwed. Right? I thought I heard that. The other answer is we don't do anything. This is the problem. This is exactly the answers that I predicted. That if I give you all the money you need, you're going to do everything you need to do to get that business going. If I don't give you the money, you're not going to do jack, right? Because in your mind, you can't. Okay, I want this to stick with you. Let me break the news to you. The bank's not going to give you any money. All right? I know this from experience. I've gotten bank loans, all right? I got a $75,000 loan from a bank for one of my businesses, okay? So I know what it takes to get money from a bank. It does not take a business plan. It does not take a great idea. Let me tell you what a bank wants to see in order to give you money. Give it to you. This is the joke. Banks give you money when you don't need it. Well, then why would I ask if I don't need it? From the bank's perspective. You understand? They want you to have been in business for 2 years. Not just in business, though. There's more to that. If you have a home-based business, a very common thing to do is to show your business at a loss for tax purposes. Okay? So if you go into the bank and say, yes, I've been in business for 2 years, but I've been suffering losses for 2 years, they're going to show you the door. Okay? They want the founders to have stellar credit. Stellar. Close to 700. Maybe even above. Actually, now it's probably even more than that. I'm talking my experience from a few years ago. And they want you to be profitable. So if you haven't started your business at all, if right now, today, it's still just an idea, they're not going to give you any money. That's why I asked the follow-up question. If I don't give you any money, what are you going to do? If your answer is we're screwed, or the answer is nothing, then yeah, you're screwed. So what I want to do today is help you understand that there are other ways. There are alternatives. But let's talk about the banks for a minute. The problem with whether it's a bank or even a VC is that if you look at a startup is like a speedboat. If you look at a lot of these successful tech companies today, and I know we're not just talking about tech, right? But most of them started as something quite different than what they eventually ended up as. Okay. So in a startup, in small business, you realize as you get moving, okay, this one isn't going to work. So I need to pivot, right? I need to maneuver. But when you go and you get money, you say, this is what I'm going to do with it. And they give you money based on that. And they're going to hold you to that. When you try to pivot and do something different, well, wait a minute. Derrick, you told us you were going to hire 3 people. But I realized that's not really the smart thing to do. Instead, we need to do this instead. But you said you were going to hire 3 people. But we've determined that there's a much better use for the money than headcount. But you said, and this is why we gave you the money. You become this guy. I was this guy. Spending the majority of your time sitting at your desk, going through paperwork. Oh, Derrick, we just remembered we need this document. Oh, we just remembered we need this document. Oh, we just remembered we need this document. Now, if you remember back to when we first started, to see who was paying attention, I talked about the single most important responsibility of the new entrepreneur. What was it?
Run around telling everybody, selling it, trying to win people over.
Sell, sell, sell. Thank you. That's why I was paying attention. But I can't do that if I'm busy doing this. Now, take this experience and multiply it by the number of organizations, institutions you try to get funded. It is a time-consuming process. Very, very lengthy. And there is no guarantee that you're going to get it done. In the meantime, someone across town doing something similar to you, they're out doing this. Question. Where do most startups get their money? Just throw out just whatever you think. Don't try to figure out where I'm going. Grants, that's a good one. Family. Anybody else?
Lottery.
The lottery. Well, no, they win the lottery and they go, okay, I guess I won't be starting that business anymore. First, their own savings. They tap into their own money. If you are planning on starting a business, start stockpiling your cash now, because that's where your startup capital is coming from. That's where it's coming from, folks. Because, like I said, the bank doesn't want to give you money, and even if they wanted to, I'm not really sure you should take it. Okay? Very common. They use their personal credit cards. Again, because they realized this is after they were the guy sitting at the desk, right? Or sitting at the kitchen table or the counter. Now they realize, no one's going to give them money. And then the next one is, you mentioned it, friends. Friends and family. Uncle Joey hooked me up, right? This one is dicey. As a rule, you should not take investment money or a loan. No, forget it, not a loan. You should not take an investment from any family member who cannot afford to lose it. Now, if you have a rich uncle who just really loves you because he taught you how to play baseball and all this stuff, and he's like, you know what, yeah, I'll throw some money at you. That's one thing. But Aunt May and her retirement, that's a really bad idea. See, because the problem is that you think you're going to blow up in 2 weeks. Which is very, very unlikely. I say avoid this group altogether, just like we talked about before. I don't want you to think it's just me saying this stuff, right? Let me read from you something. I quoted Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks. And he really nails it here. Starbucks was not founded by Howard Schultz. Okay, he was actually working for a marketing company. That's his education. And he noticed this company in Seattle that kept making these huge orders for different types of coffee equipment. And he just had to see what they were doing. He went out and fell in love with the place, and he started working for them. They were basically a coffee distributor, basically, right? A bean distributor, a beaner. But he had an experience while he was there. While he was there, they decided they wanted to expand. So they took out a lot of debt. And every time they wanted to do something, that big ship was coming down on their speedboat. So this is what he said. He says, another important thing I learned during that difficult time was that taking on debt is not the best way to fund a company. Many entrepreneurs prefer borrowing money from banks because doing so allows them to keep control in their own hands. They fear that raising equity by selling shares will mean a loss of personal control over the operation. I believe that the best way for an entrepreneur to maintain control is by performing well and pleasing shareholders, even if his or her stake is below 50%. That risk is far preferable to the danger of heavy debt, which can limit the possibilities for future growth and innovation. Why does he use the word innovation? Because now you've just decided, in the middle of doing all of this, actually there's something else that we can do. Right? The iPhone started as a tablet. Jobs looks at it and goes, that will make a great phone. Let's do that first. So now you just took out this heavy debt. And you decide, I have to pivot. I have to maneuver, which is always the case. But now, you're doing something different than what you told the guys that you got the money from. It makes your life extremely difficult. Now, another option, another alternative, which I didn't get into partnering, and he touches on it here, is that you can have an equity partner. So you have someone who's got the dough, who's got the cash, and then you provide the expertise. And that's how he raised money to buy Starbucks to make it the Starbucks that we know of today. He went around, talked to, I think, 200 and some odd people. 23 of them agreed. No. 17 of them agreed, I think. It was a small number. Some people wouldn't even call him back, right? You want to sell coffee for how much? Dark roast? Americans don't drink dark roast. We drink like that crap from the store, Folgers, right? So he had to talk to a lot of people to invest in his idea. And he made them equity partners. Okay, so that's also another option. Do not make Aunt May an equity partner. Aunt May doesn't count. Uncle Joey with a lot of money, he might be okay.